it's hard because I also think like there's definitely something to be said about the mental shift of working for yourself versus working for someone else, because it's like, and obviously like we're all hard workers here, you know, but whatever you lock into when you're working for yourself is just different than what you're doing when you're like employed.
We're always collaborating at all times with the universe.
Holy shit, it's been a long time since I've done a podcast episode, and I'm glad it's with you, though. It's good that you're here. I feel like this is the kick in my ass that I've needed, because you're, like, so youthful and vibrant and, like, getting after it in life.
When's the last time you did a podcast episode?
I did a podcast with a guy by the name of Landon Tengwall. He was a Penn State football player who was kind of jumping into the media space, and he was kind of referred to me as, like, somebody to the go-to guy. I'm, like, the go-to guy in my area for... Not to brag, but like to get him kind of situated on what he was trying to get done. And I kind of teed him up and set him up with like what it is he should be thinking about doing, and hooked him up with a guy who ended up being his first like video editor. And now he's got like a nice studio downtown, and he's got like sponsors out the ass. And so he's killing it. So I did a podcast with him, and it was like right at the beginning of whenever he was starting to get into it. And it's developed so much since then that this will be a perfect time for me to put his episode out, and then immediately after have yours be like, I'm just gonna do yours, the other one I did, and this one all in one go, so that if anybody gives a shit and watches that one, they'll turn around and hear this one a few minutes later and be like, oh, that's why that episode was recorded a year and a half prior and is finally now coming out.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I actually haven't done that many podcasts. I think I've done 2 or 3 ever, probably.
Well,
and they were all about different things and very random, like meeting these people. So
what were the other ones about?
One was like this. One time I was like living in Airbnbs, and I wasn't really living anywhere properly, and I went through, I think it was like Texas or some shit, and I was going to Anytime Fitness because that was my gym that I had a membership with.
We have one of those.
Yes, it's a great little gym. It's got everything you need. 24 hours, you just get the fob. Sometimes it's just you in there, okay?
Which is the way I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't go there anymore, so this isn't like I'm not like, you know what it is. But like...
I saw are those your keys with the Crunch Fitness one on there?
I got a Crunch now.
My brother he was a Crunch trainer for a little while.
Yeah, it's a good gym. I mean, it's good for like where I'm at. But yeah, so I was going to Anytime Fitness, and my fob wasn't working for some reason at this place. So I kept having to call the desk, like the guy, and I was like, hey, the fob isn't working, so then he'd have to let me in, write down the new number, you know, blah, 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 blah. And this happened like 3 times. And eventually, like by the 3rd time, I was just like sitting in his office, and we were just talking. And we were just talking, you know? And then he was like, you should be on my podcast. And I was like, okay. And it was just like some motivational, like, podcast. I haven't talked to that guy since then. I follow him on Instagram though. So.
Yeah. Loyal. I'm loyal.
Social media at its finest.
I don't even know how to describe you like as a guest. Like you're one of those like potentialite people that like have potentialize awesome. That have just like a bunch of different like not general interests. Like you're kind of like niched down into a bunch of different industries. And so I guess just like tell me a little bit about your background and where you come from, just so that my audience can kind of like...
Is this a spiritual question?
Yeah. Where do we all come from if you think about it?
No, like, yeah. So I mean, my backstory, I guess into the public eye is I was on YouTube when I was younger, and I started the channel when I was like 13, and I did like soft girl versions of like hard rock songs. So I was doing like cover songs.
What were some of the songs you did?
Like Bring Me the Horizon was like the big one that blew up. Still like definitely does the best on the channel. Sleeping with Sirens. But I also did like Carly Rae Jepsen and shit. Like that shit did all right too back in the day. Imagine Dragons, like Green Day, stuff like that. And
well, I met you on the Sleeping with Sirens tour. I think it was like 2018, maybe. I think.
Yeah, 2018.
Because I know it was whatever it had to be, because that was the Olympic year. Because they were doing you went to Winterfest too, didn't you? We were in like Salt Lake City for 2 days. Then we went to Park City.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And it was so cold.
It was the coldest day of my life that I've ever been there. And actually, Good Charlotte's camera crew was there.
Yes, I remember all of this.
And they didn't bring the heating housing units for the cameras, so none of their sensors would fire up. So little old me got to do the show footage and like show recap edit for Green Day, and I was already doing that for Sleeping with Sirens. But I met you at the Salt Lake City date. Were you recording at that point? Yeah, because you said you were going to do something with JT from Black Rifle.
Yeah, so I was recording, but basically, like, I went to California because a video blew up. I got Opportunity Classic, went to California, did the thing, and then I was there for a while, and I was writing my own music. Went out there to do like an EP, and then I put out a couple songs. I was working on a record. And then, I was working with JT, and then, that's when we met, and just kind of.
Yeah, you were 19.
Yeah.
And I remember you just like out of nowhere, like I think we had pulled in. I just kind of like left the bus and come back from somewhere. I think because I went with Justin from Sirens, and then that's where I met JT, and then we went and took a tour of the Black Rifle, like their facility.
Yeah.
And then. And which is actually where I got like the inspiration. If you look at some of my older podcast episodes, I had this like bar across the table where I mounted the microphones, and I got that idea from JT and their crew because they had like this live.
They had a great setup.
It was sick. I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm over. I thought it had to be like a studio kind of a setup, and they had it more like it was really. I mean, it was a podcast table,
but it was relaxed.
Yeah, and they had like except for GoPros to be on the table like right in front of them, and I was like, I don't want to do that, but I think mounting the microphones there and keeping them out of the way of the guest is like a good idea. Mm-hmm. So I borrowed and plucked from there. Yep. But you were shooting photos. But
I wasn't really supposed to.
You were shooting photos for somebody else.
Oh yeah. So I toured with. I had some friends in West Virginia, and I'm still close with them. But they had a band called Embracer, and that I met them through like a weird, like just turn of events, and ended up really close with them. They were doing like a U.S. tour, and I was traveling with them, and then Jared, he wanted to write a song or like do this cover song, and he was in Utah, and the tour was going through Utah, so I was just like, boys, you can just drop me off, and I'll just like get this out of the way. You know what I mean? So I did like half the tour with them, and then and then I met up with Jared and was doing the song there and stuff. So. Well,
I just remember like you were randomly on the bus, and I was like, you were like, I'm gonna like shoot photos of the show tonight, and I was like, well, what are you using? And I think you had a Canon then, right?
Yeah, but like I didn't know how to use it at the time.
But I was like, hey, look, I've got a whole bunch of lenses here.
How I remember this, because I've talked about this before. It's like I was not intending on shooting any show that night. I remember getting on the bus, and you were like, "Are you shooting the show?" And I was like,
Well, you had your camera was like with you.
Yeah, because I blog. Because I didn't blog.
Okay.
I was shooting the show, but I was like, yes, I am. And I had like no idea how to use that camera.
I just remember being like, I've got a bunch of lenses here. I'm not using them all at the same time. So if you want, you're more than welcome to grab them out of my bag and use them. And then we stayed in touch after that. And then we eventually did the That's What I Want cover, which was like many years later, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then, which is still one of our like top stream covers. Like it does pretty decent streaming like every year. Yeah. But I just remember being like, you're an interesting character. Because you were like, you just mentioned before we started this, you want to allegedly you mentioned this, that you want to go train hopping.
Yeah, I do.
And when I met you, I was like, this is a vagabond right here. This is somebody that does that kind of stuff.
I was in that era too. And I remember like that year specifically when I met you, my ex-boyfriend and I having a conversation in December. And we both just decided, we were like, we're just going to say yes to everything next year. It was like, that's just what we're going to do. And so much blossomed out of that year just for being like, not really thinking anything through.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's always the best way to do things, but like otherwise maybe I wouldn't have gone to Jared's, maybe I wouldn't have been like, I'm shooting the show. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're shooting the show, you're like, fuck.
I don't know what
yes.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I was definitely in that phase though, and I was getting ready to move from California again. So yeah, I definitely have like a bit of a vagabond thing going on.
I vibed with it. I was like, this is a real recognize real kind of situation.
Yeah.
So you are still obviously a musician, and you still do obviously like a lot of like creative stuff in general, but you're with a company now in Atlanta?
Yeah. Well, we're right outside of Atlanta. We're in Powder Springs, but yeah.
Okay.
Basically Atlanta.
And so what are the things that you do in your life right now? Like, I feel like I meet a lot of people that do listen to the podcast, and they're like, I like this person you had on that did 2 or 3 different things that most people think they can only go down one avenue. And
Yeah.
I've never felt like that.
Hell no, it's
And
2026. This
for
is
sure.
the
And
future.
and it feels like, even for like the last couple of years, but definitely this year, it feels like you can't be just like a one-trick pony anymore. Like, you've got to have other skills that you can kind of bring to the table, and other like avenues of interest that you can kind of employ as a means of not necessarily like income, but self-satisfying and gratifying, what your
it has to be a
purpose
brand,
is here.
like a bigger brand, I think, in a lot of ways. But I also feel like that's true for musicians in general. Like, we were never just doing one thing.
I know a lot of them that only want to do one thing, and they complain about everything.
Yeah, but that's just an idea. It wasn't that way before. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like even in like the 80s, they're still modeling, they're still playing the music, they're still writing the music,
They've got the fragrance line.
they're still doing those things. It's just like, I don't know, maybe it was like less required back then though.
I feel like there was a period in like the tail end of the Warped Tour era where like every artist had like their own clothing brand. They had like a merch line, and that's like Franz from Attila has Stay Sick. I don't even know if he still has that, but I think Kellen probably had one from Cyrus. Everybody had one.
Yeah.
But I guess I feel like for me, like I feel I came from nothing. So for me, anything I'm interested in that I think I could not necessarily monetize, but like, I could pursue in a way that is fulfilling and also maybe pays the bills is something that like interests me in doing. And so I, doing photo and video and music, and
also like gamifying that stuff is like a nice little hack, like it's fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun.
I enjoy doing it. So it's hard because like when people are like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I'm kind of doing the thing that I want to do for fun. Like this is what I like to do for fun.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to your question of like, what I'm doing now versus before, my life has like changed so much, between like the whole pandemic shit, and then before that, living in Nashville, and now I'm in Atlanta for a little bit, probably moving now too. But yeah, like my day to day is a lot of like photography and creative directing style stuff. I've done some like studio documentaries and stuff. Do you know the band Our Lady Peace?
Yeah, do I know Our Lady Peace?
Yeah. I did something for them a couple, like 2 years ago.
Wait, that's Superman's Dead, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, dude. That was huge when I was in high school. I remember that track being like all over the place.
Yeah, it was so cool to be in the studio with them too, because I was probably there for like 4 days. And
keep talking. I'm just gonna fix this mic or this camera right here.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, it was so cool to be in the studio with them for a couple days too, because they were in the studio with Nick Raskulinecz, who did Diamond Eyes.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, and that guy was like really, really cool to like watch the process of, because they're like doing it all in a live room and stuff. And so it was just very magical to be doing like a fly on the wall kind of documentary for them. So I've done some documentary stuff, lots of photo stuff, specifically trying to like work with analog cameras and go back in time a little bit. Is everything okay?
Yeah. I just lost that one camera for a second.
It's okay.
The battery died. I told you I've been like seeing this girl for a little while.
Yeah.
For Christmas, like, she was like, she came with me on vacation with my family, and she was like really appreciative of it. And so for Christmas, she like wanted to ball out for me. She got me like a limited edition, like 1 of 100 signed vinyls of Diamond Eyes. For Christmas, she spent like a couple $100s on it, and we've just kind of really started seeing each other about off and on.
But gift giving is her love language.
For sure, and that's like probably the coolest gift that's a huge band for me in general, but definitely a huge record for me. Cool. And as soon as you said that, I was like, get the fuck out of here. So you're with Soapbox, right?
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about like what they're doing and what's going on in like that space without violating any NDAs?
Yeah, absolutely. So Soapbox is we're like a VR company, but it's like, let's just take a step back from that, because like VR has really primarily existed in the gaming space, right? Except for whatever's on Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro tends to be less gamey things, right?
Yeah. More media oriented.
Yeah, but we truly look at what we're doing as like the future of entertainment. Like for a long time, media, Netflix, YouTube, whatever it is that existed two-dimensionally, flat screen, and we basically make it a three-dimensional experience. So musicians, comedians, education type things, these people come into our facility and we capture them there. So it's like the real person, the real authentic human doing their song, performing whatever it is. And then you can download the app and basically watch them perform that wherever you are, as long as you have a MetaQuest, because that's what our app is on right now.
You said they had the array of cameras is like a whole bunch of cameras or whatever that kind of capture it?
Yeah, I think it's like 48 cameras. I don't quote me on that. There's 48 somewhere in there, but I think it's 48 cameras. But it's like a giant green room and like all of these different towers with cameras attached.
And so you said who all have you worked with that has kind of come in there and done stuff like that?
Oh my God. Stephen Marley was probably my favorite. So
really?
Yeah, one of Bob Marley's kids. He was like, that was like a spiritual experience.
Yeah, as it's supposed to be.
It was just so cool. Like he didn't even say much, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
You feel like he'd be pretty sociable.
I mean, he was amazing. He was very nice, but it was like he just didn't have to say much, you know? Like, I don't know. I had a really cool experience with him, so I loved working with him. But I've also worked with, like, Chanel West Coast was at our LA location. We've also just had a bunch of people come in, like Wally the Sensei. Like, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know if I can. Yeah, we do have T-Pain on the app. I have not worked with him, but he's like on our board.
Okay.
He's like, so he like helps with Soapbox.
He seems like a guy who's on a lot of boards.
Yes, we've had Waka Flocka come in, so I met Waka. Yelawolf. God, there's so many people.
You said they're starting to, you think they're going to close down the pop-up in Atlanta and migrate to LA?
Yeah, because we've been in, I mean, I don't even know how long the Atlanta location's been there. It hasn't been that long, but I've been at that location for like a year and a half. And we basically, like, our catalog's a lot of like legendary R&B, rap, and that kind of thing that comes out of Atlanta, but we kind of need to branch out.
That's like Mecca for it, yeah.
It's perfect, it's great, yeah. But we need to like, we're kind of trying to like expand genres and diversify the app a little bit more. So we did a pop-up in Hollywood at the beginning of the year and for a month, and it was just like of course, way faster paced.
Oh yeah,
than,
as
like,
everything
the
is.
Outskirts of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So
have you done anything on there? Have you gone in and recorded or done anything?
Yes, that's how I met the guys, was doing a song on the app. So yeah, I did, Uncanny Valley was actually written for that performance.
That's
because
awesome.
It's like a grimesy kind of vibe. So yeah, I did that one for Soapbox, and then I did, there's a song called I'm Sorry, there's a song called Deep Throat that I did, and then there's the most recent one, Youth, which we did there too. So it's like it's like, have you done VR before? Do you know? Like,
yeah, I've messed around with it.
Okay.
My nephew's like big into it. Like that was his Christmas present this year. Like that's what he wanted.
Yeah. So it's like you could put the headset on, and in addition to this kitchen, there would also be me performing right there. You know. So instead of you,
can I move you? Can you go over here towards like the?
You can move me like that. You know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you
just
can be like
literally drag and drop.
And then you just tilt. Yeah, you could do all of it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You said something earlier today when we were talking, because the whole reason we're like here and able to do this right now is because you and Alex are doing a collaboration together, yes. And you're doing the Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Die with a Smile. Mm-hmm. And I just listened to it 100 times. I can't remember the name of the song.
I know.
So I came down to film and do a couple other videos with him. And when it was you and me, Mario, and we were talking at the table earlier, you were saying about how you have like footage, like behind the scenes footage on like hard drives. So like you've saved basically and documented a lot of your journey.
Absolutely.
And you vlog a lot.
Yeah.
Or blog or whatever we were calling it earlier. I think it's a blog, but I don't.
I mean, it is. It's a video blog. A vlog.
I'm gonna go back and watch some of yours now because I've never done one, but I feel like I'm probably cut out for it, and it could just be supplemental for the podcast.
For it.
Because I talk. That's the fucking problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love that. Like even when you pop up on my TikTok, you'll just have like a random thought you just throw out there, And 9 times out of 10, I love to support all my friends if I can. But I think when you see a lot of stuff pop up, it feels like a regurgitation of something they heard somewhere else. But you said something the other day. I can't even remember what it was. And I don't even know if I saw it in a chronological order of when you posted it. It could have been like days prior. But you made a comment about something. I can't remember what it is. It's a terrible fucking story to tell. But I remember being like, that's true, actually. And you just have these like little...
stream of conscience.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've got those. I just don't think to pull up the fucking... I could pull up my phone or whatever.
Well, maybe that's because you're more present in life.
I try to be. I think that I'm definitely that. I did some medicine work back in June of this past year. I just turned 40 on my birthday, and I was like, let's go see if there's any fucking bats in the cave that need shaking out. And I had like my second day, instead of doing the medicine work, I just sat in. It was just like sort of like a therapy session, and it was kind of a group therapy session with me and one of my absolute best friends. And the therapist, she was like, I'd never thought of this before. One of the things she really complimented me on, she was like, you're not on anything right now as a means of like facilitating medicine work. Right. And she's like, you had no problem. It was still an 8-hour session. And she was like, you had no problem being present like the entire time.
She was like, you were raw dogging.
And yeah, for sure. And I was like, am I just always tripping? I don't. Yeah. But it was something. Are
you a pretty like sober person generally?
Generally, yeah. I mean, I drink sort of socially. Like to me, we like in Relic Hearts, we have a 2-drink minimum, 2-drink maximum before we go on stage. So you can have a drink on stage, but like we encourage you. We're not making each other drink, but like we're like, you should, if you want to be loose and have a drink or two before the show, have no more than 2. Like be loose, but don't be sloppy.
Okay.
And so I'll drink sometimes during shows if I am having like, for whatever reasons, like nerves. But then, but for the most part, if it's not like a celebration, I don't really enjoy the taste of alcohol. And I know a lot of amazing bartenders, and I've had some incredible cocktails in my life, but I'm not a big beer drinker. And I'm definitely like, even with weed, it's like wine at the end of the day, not like I smoke tough all day, every day. Like that's how I live it. But I definitely am a huge fan of like hallucinogenics in the microdose format. Like I did some LSD at the beginning of 2020. Right, like in January for 2 weeks, I was like, every day I'm just gonna microdose for 2 weeks and to see what the effects of that are. And I was...
Okay, so what were the effects? Like,
the effects were phenomenal. I was running live sound for a venue for a friend of mine's band, LoJack, on, I think they were playing Friday nights at this bar in State College. And there was one night, it was probably like the end of the second week. And mind you, this is prior to the pandemic. So I'm like going into this year like, yeah, let's do some things and really revitalize where I'm at in life and just see what the effects are. I remember mixing sound, and I had people coming up to me because I'm mixing on an iPad. Like, and it's not a great venue for sound. And the owner came up to me and was like, this is the best they have ever sounded. Because I'm like fucking with the slapback delay and like just filling out the space so there was some like atmosphere to their voice, because that's in my head, that's how I heard them. But I was very much so not, I'm not somebody who gets like easily triggered or bothered by things, but I noticed that my everyday stresses seemed so much more minimal. I was like, oh, this will pass. Like, this is like, I can't control everything. And I think in my life, I spent a lot of time trying to control as much as I can. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure you're aware, like we very much so control nothing. Yep. So for me to be able to just sort of passively and actively relinquish the idea that I needed to have any control over it, anything that was happening to me, set me for the rest of that year. Like we went into March and it was the pandemic. And I was like, remember when
I needed that
for sure, because I was like, it was supposed to be a 2-week lockdown, and then obviously
2 years.
Yeah, it kept going. As soon as it made it past the second week, I was like, oh, we're gonna be here for a while, and I just didn't. I wasn't fazed by it, and to me, I feel like it forced the rest of the world to come to the place that I lived, and being like uncertain. There's so much uncertainty, and I spent a lot of time being really anxious about it, and. From then on, like after that microdosing, like 2 weeks, I was just like, oh, everybody else is having a hard time with this. And I now know why they are, because I was there just like 3 months ago having that problem.
So why did you choose LSD and not like mushrooms? Or have you just done mushrooms and it wasn't it?
I've done mushrooms too. I'm a big advocate for psilocybin. I think that's great, especially like when you look at the long-term effects on treating people with PTSD and all kinds of just like mental health issues.
Yeah.
I don't usually dabble. I'd only done maybe LSD 2 or 3 times before, and I'd done it to the degree where you're meant to like hallucinate and trip and actually go, to drop in. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, I just want to try the microdosing side of this. I had microdosed mushrooms. I just wanted to see if it was going to be the same if I did it with LSD. And the effect was very different. I remember just feeling like there was this lingering awareness of the things that were going on around me, whether it was sound or color. And I took a lot of walks. Prior to the pandemic, I was like,
that's all you could do.
Anytime I'd ever done it, I was in a place.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like safe in a place. And I've never, knock on wood, I've never had a bad trip. But I think it's because I've already gone through the corners of my brain that people find like a little bit scary sometimes. Like if you're not good at being alone, loneliness is like a death sentence. You're like, it's not like being alone. I don't mind being alone at all.
Yeah, but
most people don't.
But for some people, they cannot sit with their thoughts.
For sure. And I feel like I, as like an extrovert, but somebody who's a true neurodivergent, I spent a lot of time in that like self-analyzing phase of things, and it can be a real quick way to get in your way all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So to be able to step out of it a little bit, and then in the pandemic, it was like, oh, everybody had to slow down to the same space, and there's all this uncertainty. Nobody knows like,
when it's
what do I
end?
do? And it had everybody being like, what do I do with all this free time? I can't go anywhere or do anything. And
at some point, I think some people just really tapped into like a vacation mode.
yeah.
Like in hindsight, I feel like I kind of did that a little bit, Like once it hit the 2-year threshold, I was like, first year was like fun. I could be like, this is novelty, woo,
Right.
Like,
I'm experiencing.
What a crazy time.
Yeah. What new traumas can we discover together?
But like year 2, I was like pretty tapped on it. I was ready for that to not be a thing anymore.
Yeah, by year 2, it was still a thing, but to most people, were like, whatever.
Yeah.
People were back to kissing strangers.
But I was remote living at the time, which is a whole different thing. So when you're like remote living, like people, you really do like not know what's going on.
Right.
Like
you're truly disconnected.
Yeah. And not to be like, oh, I was so out of it or something, but it's just like your social circle doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. The people that you would talk to about that before aren't there presently.
Yeah.
And you're 30, 40 miles from anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's easy to, like, feel like it's still going on, I guess.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I guess I just feel like you asked about, like, microdosing. The effects of it were really good. I came out of that, and then the pandemic hit, and obviously the world kind of fell apart for a little while. But I was like, this is gonna get figured out. And I don't know. I went to college, and I didn't want to really go to college, right? My mom got a job at the university, and I got a tuition discount to go, and I got my tuition assistance was based off of my income because I lived on my own, and my mom was like, you should really consider going. I was like, okay, I'll go. So I basically got paid to go if I took a full semester worth of classes. So I did get my degrees, and whenever I got out, I was like, I don't want to do like government work. I don't want to teach English as a second language. I don't think this is for me. I jumped into music. I've just never truly known what I wanted to do next. And I think it's really hard when, I feel like you've been working for yourself for a long time, so have I.
Yeah.
I've had a really hard time just like coalescing and being like, oh, it's okay. Like I'm going to go work for somebody else and make them money and do this thing. And everybody else had been doing that.
Yeah, it's hard because I also think like there's definitely something to be said about the mental shift of working for yourself versus working for someone else, because it's like, and obviously like we're all hard workers here, but whatever you lock into when you're working for yourself is just different than what you're doing when you're like employed.
And I think it's important for people to at least attempt to experience. It's not for everybody. I also acknowledge that. Like I get that not everybody wants that. There's not maybe enough security in it for people. I think I've just always been a risk taker.
Yeah, but also security is so subjective.
And fleeting.
Yes, because it's also like if you're employed, like you can lose your job at any second.
Absolutely.
Like in most, like a lot of states, you know what I mean? Like you can lose your job at any second. Also, like you might have more financial security, but you lose tons of other securities.
Oh yeah, along the way.
Yeah, so it's like just pick your poison,
Exactly, and that's exactly how I feel. I think like what's the point in not at least betting on myself
Yeah.
every now and again? And luckily, in doing that, it's given me the opportunity to continue to bet on myself in other ways.
Yeah. Yep.
And I feel like you've done that too. Because like meeting 19-year-old you who is like, I don't know how to describe. You're a little road warrior. You're just out here doing photos, and then you kind of are around, and then you're gone. And then I started following you then because I was like, oh, cool. Like I like what she does. Like,
It's funny to me that we even stayed in touch.
Because that could have easily have not happened. I've met tons of people on the road that I've never. Yeah. But I think I just saw enough parallels in the way you were choosing to live your life, and I was like, I've just learned that it's important for me to embrace and be really appreciative of those people in my life because it lets you see what trajectories and life arcs can happen when you just take that risk. And I've got tons of friends that like you that do that, and I'm grateful that I've been able to absorb a lot from them. You remember your not Manic Pixie? What was the
Wormwood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you were developing I was watching like you capturing what you were documenting a lot of the behind the scenes because you're really good at that, and I'm watching all of that kind of come together, and I was like, fucking A, like it made me stop. Like I got to stop overthinking what my art is. If I'm too close to it, I feel like I can't do anything productive or what I would, observe as do something intelligent with it. And I was like, you were just not you were carefree, but you were willing to take risks, and that's something that even just
because it's fun. It's because it's fucking fun.
It should be fun. But if you're a neurotic person like me, or like
we gotta cut
all
that
of this
out.
is a nightmare. So it's good to be around somebody who is just like, no, I throw caution to the wind. I just fucking wing it sometimes. I want to try some things. I'm not afraid to take risks. And it's good to see somebody do that, because if you are somebody who learns by example and observation, which is 100% somebody that I am, I can take that and be like, I can apply that to me in a meism kind of way that I can benefit from it without you having to teach me anything. I can just observe it and be like, I see what you're doing. That's really interesting. And I have mad respect for you for doing that, because not only do I think you're a good artist, I think you are a good artist with a good vision. Thanks. And it changes, and you've not stayed one course.
No,
so that's good.
I wish I could, but I cannot, it's so funny. I actually have, I've asked my fan base on Instagram before, if you were to describe me, or if you were to describe what you get out of listening to my music, what would it be? Give me 3 keywords or whatever it is. And looking at the trends. Yeah. I got a fucking book.
That's awesome.
And see, but it's like, the reason I have it though is to pull me back to center when I am like, oh, what if I did this crazy little dance number here and did this, and the other part of me is like, but I want to be Lumineers,
Right.
You know what I mean?
This year I want to be.
Pulls me back to the center, and it's like, okay, this is what you mean to people. You know what I mean? And because you have to keep it, I don't want to say contained, but it needs to make sense to people, though. Yeah,
it's got to be digestible.
Yes, and it's like
I'm not interested in making art for the sake of I just popped this balloon full of sour cream on this canvas over here, and that is my art. And you're like, what the fuck am I looking at?
It's abstract. We love abstract too, but it's like there is a balance of maintaining and making things for the people that are listening to you versus going on all the side quests ever.
But I think it's smart that you even took even the idea of just reaching out to the people that are currently audience members, anybody who's paying attention, even if they're just friends, family, and a couple people that are fans of your band, and just being like, what are 3 things you think about when it comes to my music and what it represents to you, or how do you identify it?
Trends is crazy to me. It's like we're all having the same experience.
Definitely.
That person in Jakarta, that person in Croatia. Do you know what I mean? We're all having the same experience, and that's just really cool, because I don't play a lot of, I don't tour much and stuff, so I feel like when people tour, they get that sense of we're all doing the same thing. We're all here.
Yeah, there's a camaraderie that exists there,
Yeah, and so it's you get a little bit of that, and it's so cool. And that's really fucking cool.
I just appreciate that, in watching your journey for the last, 9 years, that you have, not only have you developed as an artist, but you developed as a person. I feel like you're definitely a lot of a go-getter, and I don't think that I didn't observe that about you before, but I see it manifested now in a very driven kind of way. You're the kind of person that is a good example to see look, if you just keep chipping at it, you are actually always unstoppable. Until you're dead, you're literally unstoppable. So just keep going after it.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel it's funny. I feel very scattered most of the time. I know what I don't want,
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the time, I have to feel free all the time, So it's I think there's limits around what I can commit to because of that, right?
Yeah.
And it helps me to always think of everything as a silly little side quest. And if that silly little side quest lasts 5 years, that's fine. But I still have to look at it as like, this is just another side quest.
So then let me segue into this then. You said that you're talking to like labels right now. How does that, how do you reconcile that with the part of you that desires to be free when they're like,
I'm like, also I'll look at the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, but low key, if like they want to sign for 10 years, like I'm not doing that.
right.
Also, like, does that even work these days? Like,
No. And also I think my worry is that when you said it, I was like, everybody's situation is different. I don't look at you as an idiot at all. I'm like, she wouldn't even be having this conversation if there wasn't something worth entertaining. Mm-hmm. But I was like, do you feel like you are aware of the fact that like you're actually in a place that you can always negotiate from? Like all these are contracts,
yeah.
and those contracts can be and should be negotiated.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, I guess for me, it's one of those things where I always present myself too as like, I'm not just a musician, right? Like if I sign to a label, like I need them to understand the entire overarching brand of what's going on,
right.
And you know, and there's like other avenues of things, whether it's commercial or creative directing. I love all of those equally, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't think
and not even just for me. Like I like doing it for other people.
Right.
I find great fulfillment out of doing that.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it's another outlet for, you know, who you are as a person and as an artist. And so I don't feel like a standard deal would even be presented to me to make it work.
Yeah, or even if it was, you'd be like, but actually, I also want to be doing some work for some of the other artists on your label, because I feel like there's a way for us all to be scratching each other's backs here and not just have me be a one-trick pony for you for one contract. It's just me.
And I think that's always like been the struggle too, is it's like, you know, I feel like and maybe everybody says this about themselves, but I feel like I'm, you know, an artist in a time where things are like pivotal, they're changing a lot. Like, you know, like we were just talking about this, like, I feel like it used to be where like you were either nobody or you were like Guns N' Roses. You know right. Like there wasn't middle ground. Really.
Yeah, there's a vast diaspora right now in the middle there.
Or the middle ground wasn't able to do much for themselves. Or it's like here, the middle ground can still have like a upper class life, you know, and have a great life and travel the world. And so it's like, I feel like most of my career has been spent just like looking for more modernized approaches to things. And it's like a lot of the people in the industry are still a little outdated, you know? Yeah,
and the industry's constantly changing. So it's like, it's easy to be outdated. And to be current, you have to kind of be willing to adapt and adjust. And it's not always, I don't find artists to be very loving of the idea of change and growth in that aspect that requires them to think outside of the box every now and again. And it makes it a little bit like I said to you earlier, this Alex and Elle's house is like gorgeous, and this is the house that YouTube built. Like she was a beauty guru, he was a musician.
Yeah.
They upstairs they have their like their 1 million subscriber plaques are like side by side on the other side of their, you know, marriage photos from like their wedding day, and like that's such a unique experience, and even they can tell you that like the industry has shifted so much from whenever they were in a place where they were able to like kill it at that level doing that.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, I feel like that's been the topic of the day, is like us talking
and AI,
about,
that's been the other topic.
Yeah, and AI, yeah. But we can't hate too much. But yeah, and I mean it's always changing, and I mean, I don't know. I go through like these philosophical periods too where I'm like, do careers even exist? Is this even like a real thing?
Not the way they used to,
the
for sure.
neurotypical people, are they even real? You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
No, they're not. Like, I don't think so. And so it's like, I don't know. I think like at the end of the day, my goal with it's not about like
career.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not about dream job.
Yeah.
You know, it's never been about dream job. It's never been about career. It's always like, what do you want out of your life, and what things can get you to that place.
And what are you doing in your day to day that's exercising your right to fucking do those things?
Right, because like so many people get caught up in these far away ideas of what do I want to be in 25 years. Bro, you don't even know who you are in 25 years. Like, what do you mean?
And you could be dead tomorrow, by the way.
I was going to say, you could not even be alive. Like, we're really making a lot of assumptions here, you know? And
I mean, there's something healthy about having a longer view, but I think a lot of people, what you're saying is like, they specifically only have like a tunnel vision version of like, I got to get to this place that's 10 years down the road.
And they don't consider like the day to day, what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled, what makes, and I don't mean like shallow happy. I don't mean like, I don't want to work today. I mean, I mean like what keeps you inspired. And
I have those days.
We all do. Yeah. It's called Saturday and Sunday. But like, I mean like what keeps you inspired enough to be chasing after that thing. Right?
Yeah.
Because
it's important to stay inspired.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out what it is that keeps you there.
Yes. And like, I feel like we live in a society that just does not fuck with that concept. Like,
yeah.
I hate that. That's like the bane of my existence.
Well, it's not even that. It's a lot, because I don't feel like I fall into that necessarily all the time or very often, but I know that I am surrounded by a lot of people that are in that rat race and they're not thrilled about it. They don't love it. And it's like, I see you put in extra effort. You're door dashing. You're like Ubering and shit on the side. Like you've got extra time that you could be putting into something that's like not necessarily side hustle, because I don't love the idea of like grind culture and having to hustle in every way. But there is something to be said about just being a little bit more proactive about living the life and going after the life you want to live.
And like not waiting until you get to a certain point to go do that. Because let me tell you, I went to New Zealand with $3,000 in my bank account. You know what I mean? Like, and the ticket was $1,000, and I just made the rest work because
necessity is the mother of invention. I will make this work.
I was just like I wasn't at rock bottom, but I was bored.
Yeah.
I need something to give me life.
So I do this
that
thing.
I can be productive again.
I've ended up like leaving relationships and leaving jobs and leaving all kinds of stuff just to. It's called. I say I'm doing things that are catalytically inclined. I'm like, what is gonna be the thing here that sparks some sort of a change here? What can I do that is very atypical or a-characteristic of me that will allow me to just spark a change and see what happens? And not even because I'm like, it may end up in a better place. It's like, something's got to give here. If I'm in a relationship and this isn't working and like we're butting heads and like neither one of us seems to be making any progress individually or together, it's like, we got to get out of this. We got to find a way to like, this is not good for either one of us. We're going to keep this going. And that's, friendships, all kinds of different relationships in life. And that doing shit, just like if you're bored and you're like, I'm feeling uninspired, it's actually not that hard to do something that kind of kicks yourself in the ass and gives you an opportunity to sort of like see outside of yourself, be a little bit more objective about what you're experiencing and putting yourself through in your day to day.
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like, That's what I mean. It's just like the day to day. Like people kind of stop thinking about that, and they just have this vision of the future, which is, again, it's great to like have goals. We all need them. Like you have to have goals, but I do think that people just get lost along the way, and I don't like that part of society.
And then the other trap is the part where people they move the goalposts on themselves. It's like, I'll be happy when I have 10,000 in the bank, and you're getting close to it, and you're like, actually, it's got to be closer to 20,000, and I'll just do this thing that keeps kicking the can down the road to where I'm going to find happiness. And I appreciate you saying that you think that I'm pretty present, because I don't think I make a conscious effort to be that, but it's a characteristic that is of me, and I'm grateful that for whatever reason I have it. I can't pinpoint it to any one thing exactly, but the fact that it's where I am now, like I enjoy it about myself. I find I'm able to enjoy more out of life, even the things that suck. Like, you go to a movie with a friend and you go back home and you're like, oh shit, I can't get in the house. I left my keys at the movie theater. And some people are like, fuck, I gotta go drive 20 minutes back there. And I'm like, that's all the adventure. That's it. That's all part of the fucking experience. So it's like, that's your experience today.
It's nice to have like a wrench thrown in your own plans.
Yeah.
You just need it to shake up the day so that it's not just like monotonous. I'm going here and I'm going here and I'm going here.
When you were talking earlier about spiritual, and I said to like kind of describe you, how do you feel about, I think that I always have these great ambitions and ideas, and sometimes the wrench does get thrown into things. Do you observe it as like this is a huge inconvenience, or you're like, what is the universe telling me right now? What am I being shown as an opportunity to re-examine the way I'm thinking about this?
I'd like to say that most of the time I'm not looking at it as an inconvenience, but it's also like, for me, it's logic. It's like, I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to waste my time feeling worse than I need to. So what is the best way that I could approach this situation? And it's always easier to address that with mundane shit that doesn't actually amount to much.
Right.
You know, versus if like somebody dies and you're like, better figure out this logic thing, you know? So yeah, like I generally think that I'm, you know, more into like the adventure aspect of things. And
you're clearly an adventurer.
yeah, but
we were allegedly talking about hopping trains. Which,
I'm serious.
Off the record, we should totally talk about it because I dabble. I would dabble.
Okay. I have
Allegedly, I would dabble.
Okay.
Do you meditate at all?
I went through a phase where I was really trying to get into meditation and like journaling. But journaling is like, I feel like I journal. I just maybe don't have like a name for it. You know what I mean? Like I write. Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
You clearly like to write. Definitely like to write.
Yeah, like I write all the time. And I find meditation more useful than journaling though, because what would happen is I would journal like my bad days and then I would go back and read them.
You're like,
and I was like, well, shit, it really was bad, you know?
Yeah.
But
hindsight being 20/20, I hate what I was going through right now.
Yeah. But when I have done meditation, like I've really enjoyed it. I think it's really benefited me a lot. Do you?
From the martial arts background side of me, I had an instructor who was like really big on making sure we spent time meditating before and after each class, which I was like really grateful for. The neurodivergent in me, it was like, you know, you're trying to tame the monkey, and it's really hard for me as somebody with like severe ADHD to do that. Mm-hmm. So I think there's this really good book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and the idea being that you know, finding Zen and meditating is not just like I sit in a room and I focus on my breathing kind of thing. There's all kinds of ways to meditate, and like I've learned to. Have you ever caught yourself like? People go through life and they're like in this emergency state. They're like, I wash the dishes, I'm scrubbing the shit out of this thing. I got to do it fast. I got to get it done. Yeah. There's something for me that I hate doing dishes, but if I do them and when I do them, I like commit to the bit. I'm like, I'm going to be here, and I'm like, I'm not like I'm enjoying every curve of the dish or whatever, but there's something meditative about just the act of doing dishes or the act of, I've lately, you know, like a couple years ago, I got into hunting. I was dating a girl who hunted, and I wanted to be like more active in her life and things that she was interested in. And with the state of the world, I was like, I should probably learn how to get my own food in life. Yeah. And so I started doing that. So I've been spending a lot of time out in nature, which is, you know, a lot of sitting and being quiet. So that is essentially meditating and just observing what's going on in the environment around me. But then I've also found it in, you know, things like setting up and tearing stuff down. It's like I'm moving fast and I'm doing the thing.
It's a flow state.
Yes,
it's like a real flow state.
That is like a, I don't know if it's a modern term, but I feel like I hear it more now than ever before. And having like a moniker to, you know, ascribe to it is really helpful for me, because I'm like, yeah, you do get into a flow state, and that is like the meditative state. Mm-hmm. Like even filming, like there's dialogue taking place between takes. Like, hey, did we get this? Can we try this or whatever? But in the act of filming, when nobody's talking to me and I'm just sitting there and I'm carrying the camera back and forth and I'm moving around, I'm trying to get this focus on like my breathing and the way I'm stepping, that's like a form of Tai Chi. Like that's just me paying attention to the way I'm breathing and the way my energy in my body is flowing as I'm like manipulating this camera and turning it and playing with all of that. And so I feel like I have this healthy amount of creativity and meditation and just mindfulness that is brought to my everyday in the act of creating anything. And I think that's why I kind of gravitate towards people that are also in that world. And not everybody has that.
Ignore that. I just pulled the Dr. Pepper.
Ignore what? Cut. But like, oh no, my Dr. Pepper, my Dr. Peppy. But I don't know. I think like I enjoy being around artists and watching how they navigate their own journeys, because they're all different. But there's something to take from all of them. Like I take stuff from you, I take stuff from Alex, I take stuff from everybody I engage with, and I love it. I'm like, I'm glad that I can see examples of how doing it a way different from me can also be beneficial.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you absorb stuff from like the people you work with?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. And I also, this is so interesting, but I never thought of myself as being a family-oriented person. Like I'm very close with my family.
You said you were really close with your family.
Oh my God, I was homeschooled. We're all
we're tight.
Like, yeah, love it or not, we're like this. Yeah, so I never thought of myself as being like sentimental or family oriented, but the older I get, and I feel like this is like one of my strengths. Like this is one of those things that I love about myself, truly. But like I feel like I could sit down with anybody, and like it's not hard for me to be genuinely interested.
Yeah. To be present, show up and be like, okay.
Yeah, it's not hard for me to be curious at all. And
that is definitely a staple like trait of yours, is that you're curious.
I'm so curious because it's like,
do you know how much shit we don't know?
yes, literally. I'm like, you know, like this person, like, and I want to know about the mundane stuff too.
Yeah,
like,
the minutia.
Yeah, I want to know about like, I don't know, like this kid's favorite food he likes to eat and why, because there's a whole reason for that traces way back. It's never simple, you know? And so I absolutely learned so much from the people around me, and as introverted as I am sometimes, you don't think I'm introverted because we talk a lot, but but I definitely can be, and I think a lot of it's like I'm absorbing things, I'm like taking it in, I'm like checking it out. But like as much as that is a part of my personality, like, like getting to know people in community has just become so important to like my well-being as I've gotten older. Like that's a staple. I'm like, I need to figure that out. Yeah. Because I've moved so much, and that's the one thing I really don't. You build community in a different way traveling, because I might know somebody in Spain now. I might know somebody in Iceland. That's like a luxury I'll never, get tired of. But also, like on a Saturday night, I don't have somebody to go get pizza with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I'm bored and I can't like do that, that's really difficult for me. So like community's like a pillar in my life right now, I guess. Like I really value that.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize those seasons in your life. Like you're like, this is a period where I'm being tasked with the challenge of figuring out how I identify or integrate into a community that I'm either building or adjoining. Yes,
and this is a whole other podcast episode we could have, but like I know exactly where this comes from, and over like of course the quarantine shit like really highlighted it all. But like growing up, we were like very, very religious and like preppers, and
nice. You got bunkers somewhere, or
no, we're not bunkers, but we had like all these number 10 cans for the end times. Like, but it wasn't for us, I'm like, what do you mean? So like we were highly religious and homeschooled, and that was it, like forever, And we didn't live like in a cul-de-sac. We lived pretty far out. So like that's your community then. Yeah. So my family is my community, but also like I'm very comfortable by myself. And I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah. But I also think because of that, I am, like, I can feel stuck really easily because I felt very contained. Right? Yeah. So now I'm just like, we got to try everything, Every action has an equal and opposite. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. But I also appreciate, I think, more out of life maybe than somebody who didn't come from that would. Because there's just a different perspective there. Like, that wasn't just a normal integration into childhood or whatever. But again, being curious, you're at least able to kind of like circumvent the things that could be trappings by being able to be like, actually, I'm just mindful and aware of these things. And so now I'm actually kind of curious why this person's food is that's their favorite food or whatever. Yeah, totally. And like over the COVID stuff, like that's really when it started, because I remember, and there was a lot of stuff going on during that time. Like I had some tragedies in the family and stuff. So I was like pretty depressed, as one would be. And I did mushrooms for the first time. Okay. For COVID. And then, I just remember trying, like for the first time, I was being really intentional about self-care. And I was like reading all these. That's a season 2. I know, but it was like, it's funny because I was living off grid during a very turbulent time in life where this pandemic's happening, and I'm like, why am I so sad, And obviously all these things contributed to it. And I was trying to do things like take baths, go for walks, like do the things that you read, when the reality was like I just didn't have any community. And that was the self-care that you needed. Yes, and so I was trying to do all these things that just made me feel more alone. Yeah, like, I'm alone. Now I'm alone in this hot spring. Yes, I'm alone in this beautiful place, but it was like really what you need is like this. What I needed was like a different form of self-care, yeah, it's just, I'm going off now. I don't even know
No.
what
That's 100% what this podcast is. But I wanted to segue using that into
Yeah.
like the idea of collaborating. Like putting two artists with totally different mindsets into a room can be like the best or the worst case scenario based on, and it varies case by case based off of the two that are put in that room or three or whatever. But so like when I got here on Tuesday, we didn't even have a finished version of what was supposed to be the instrumentation for the track that we were planning on filming today. And so that's a short turnaround time for getting
Right.
something recorded and then organized in any way that you can put it together. And like Alex is somebody who's very meticulous about what it is that he does and how he does it. There's like a method to the madness, and it's not for no good reason. Like a lot of
but
it
it's
is
calculated. It's
very
dialed
calculated,
in.
and it all comes from
Yes.
like a breadth of knowledge that he's gathered over the years doing it the way that he's done it or learned to do it. And so, you guys have never done anything like collaborative together in that regard. And so when there's these like unanswered questions of like, how are we going to, what if she doesn't sing this in a way? Like there was some like he wasn't worried, but he was like, just like it doesn't. This is all. Are we going to be able to do this while you're down here? Like, is this a wasted trip? Because I'm only going to come down and get 2 other music videos done. And I just knowing you, I was like, I don't think that's a problem. I was like, she's very like go with the flow. If she's got to go home and track something after she gets off work some night, she's going to go do it. It's going to get done. This is not like it's not a new hat to you. You're very comfortable with how you do it. But when you don't know how another artist's working, you're collaborating, especially when you have to do it remotely.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to kind of lock in and figure out in any comfortable way if you're going to be able to meaningfully get through the project or the task that you guys are trying to accomplish. I wonder what your mentality is going into collaborative projects that you've done in the past, or even just this one, that kind of stand out to you in a way that are like, these are the core essentials that are vital. Because, collaboration is a form of community. And so you collaborate within your community. And in this case, it's within the music community. But I wonder what kind of like core tenets you take into a collaborative process that make you somebody good to collaborate with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I probably...
Aside from being talented, it's like you could be talented and just be a dog shit person to work with, but like you are not that. So like, what are your things you carry forward into a collaborative project that make you like an asset to that team?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like, I think my perspective on collaborations are, it used to be a lot harder for me because I was going into the process as if it was my project, and it's not my project; it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
So it's like, you inherently have to let go of these like preconceived like ideas of what it's gonna be like.
Did you ever have a hard time with that?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like, until 3 days ago.
Yeah. No. No, but I also like I know what Alex's music sounds like. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm already going into it thinking it's gonna sound like this, So it's like, which is not what my stuff sounds like, but my stuff's also just thrown together, like
winging
it's
it
not
out here.
dialed in. You know what I mean? And so. Yeah, so it's like, I think I've come up with some boundaries for myself with that with my own music, where I don't do collaborations with people very often, unless I feel like I can't finish what I'm doing.
Sometimes there's a good catalyst in that. Pushing something across the finish line with a little help from somebody else can be like, that can grease the wheels, man.
If I still have ideas of how to complete this thing, I don't need to pass the baton yet.
Right.
But when I do get to the point and I'm like, I don't know how to do this, I can't finish that, like this needs something, I don't know what it is, then you pass the baton. But otherwise, I think for me, I just get a little too, I'm still in my circus, I'm still trying to complete my idea.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to collaborating on somebody else's song or on an actual collaborative process, like what Alex and I are doing, or like what you and I did, for example, then it's like, it's a lot more relaxed. And I'm more like, let's make sure everybody's having a good time, because that's how I want to remember the experience.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, like, that is the most important thing, because I want to make friends here.
Yeah.
I want to have fun, and it's not that serious.
And it's not. It's definitely not. And also, I think that's a good mentality to have. Like, okay, I want to enjoy this experience.
That's it. Yeah, always.
Have you ever been like in a band proper, or have you just operated as like a solo artist?
I did, but it didn't last long. Like I had a band based out of well, yeah, it didn't really last very long, so I don't want to say that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I had some stuff when I was like younger, like middle school. We had bands, we played shows.
Yeah.
But we were kids.
I just feel like for me, I got to that place with Relic Hearts and even prior to that, our prior band when we were on Warped Tour, I was like, I'm not enjoying doing this the way we're doing this, and we're not killing ourselves, but we are putting our lives on the line every time we do this. Like there were kids that were following the tour, I think in 2011, that were killed because they were following the tour and they were in a really bad accident on the highway. It was really sad, and we all found out about it like the next day. And I'm watching Kevin Lyman, who's just like really distraught because this is not what his intention is for this punk rock summer camp community that he has built over the course of what at that point was like 20 years or something. And I think like when you have that perspective that like, hey, what we're doing is fun. I am enjoying this. This is the best summer of my life. But also like, I've been driving a 15-passenger van with an 8x16 trailer in the back and been like,
yeah.
Oh shit! Like, okay, all right, I got to pull over. That's where I got to pull over. Like, I can't even risk it anymore because my bass player Nick and I, we're like the road dogs. We're the two that drive the most. When you're putting your lives on the line like that, I feel like it's really important, not just with the investiture you've made with like your time and effort and energy, but like you should be enjoying the experience. If it's miserable, if you're in a band with people that you just like actually don't gel with.
Yeah.
I'm now thankfully in a place where everybody that's in my band, I really love them like as brothers, and I really appreciate the time I have with them. And I find myself being way more jovial about like my drummer wanted a pair of headphones that were like $900, and he was saving up to buy them, and I just bought them for him. I was like, if this removes some obstacle for us and makes it so that you can enjoy the thing that you're doing with us a little bit more, that's good for the entirety of our project, and that's nothing in terms of what we could make in the back end, or even just the fact that we've shared so much.
Can look at it that way though, like.
And I get that, but they should, because it's like
but
you're
that's like
making
a
music with
special
people.
way to look at things, is what I'm saying. Like.
But I've carried that into everything now. Like I feel like that with you. I said to Alex last night, whenever we were done filming the videos, and we were just kind of like. We both do this like severe pacing. If you were a fly on the wall here, we will talk and we will just run laps around the couch that's in the living room, talking to each other about stuff. And I was like, dude, like I'm just happy like to be down here making things with you. Like I love him. I love that he is in like an explorative, like interesting part in his journey where he's like, he's made fuck you YouTube money, and now he's like in a place where he can really kind of like focus on the art for the art's sake and not having to compromise where he doesn't want to compromise.
Yeah.
When you have to compromise, like, okay, compromise, but where you're not willing to, you shouldn't. But you should still enjoy the process of it. And he's in a place where he's trying to find out where to find that love in all aspects of it so he can still enjoy every part of it. Because it's not like any of us, I think, are ever going to quit music. I think even if we weren't pursuing it, I don't think we wouldn't tap a key on a keyboard.
Yeah, it's because it's never about the job. You know what I'm saying? It's never about the career.
But it's hard when you're an artist and you're smaller and independent and you have to do all the shit yourself. Like, it can all feel like work. Oh, I got to do X amount of pieces of content to surround this song that I did. And that's maybe not what people signed up for. But to me, picking up a camera, and maybe I would be curious to see if this is the same for you, picking up and learning photography and videography unlocked a new way for me to experience music in a way that I wasn't paying attention to before. And lo and behold, in 2026, music is very much so a visual medium now also. And that was not always the case, but I feel fortunate enough that I've worked with people like Alex and you and all the people that I have that have helped me see that like it's a very vital and important part of the process. And even though it wasn't something I wanted to do, I just wanted to sing on stage, I just wanted to play shows, I wanted to tour and have fun. Now I'm like, I actually kind of like just being in the studio more and fucking around with soundscapes and ambience and locking in a vibe. Like, do you feel that way at all? Is that kind of like, is music also a very visual medium for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say sometimes I'm almost like a visual first kind of person. Like, I think there's been times when, like, anytime I'm giving like a media kit to somebody, there's always like a elaborate mood board in there for a video or for this or for the album.
You like develop one?
Yeah, I do.
Dude, I want to see some of these. I want to like, I've never done that, but I think that might help me. I'm very much so, if I can figure out how to put it to paper and see it in front of me, that might help me get across the finish line.
Sometimes it's like you're writing a song and it's like the visual comes first and then you're just kind of scoring whatever the hell's in your head. Like, do you get that?
I like that for sure, definitely.
Yeah. Like, and some, like, and it's weird, like for the album that I'm working on right now, for example, it's like, I almost don't have all the visuals, and that's bizarre because those almost come first.
I feel it's hard if they're not there kind of
Yes,
simultaneously.
exactly. It's like because there's an era. It's like there's a character, or you know what I mean? Everything looks like something, and
There's a story.
yes, and it's like I don't know about you. Maybe your image changes for the thing, or I don't know. Like for me, I think like that, and so when I don't know what that is, I can't complete the idea,
Yeah.
and so then I need to lock in, you know. And
Yeah, and figure that part out.
Which is normally just having conversations like this, and then I'll be like, hey, do you think it'd be weird if I painted my body in gold, and then someone else would
Tell
be
me
like,
about this
well, I
idea.
don't know.
I was doing something earlier and you were talking about this. I wanted to hear this idea.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it. I'd like to.
But if it happens,
I'm figuring out the logistics. Yes, but yeah, like for one of the songs, I really want to do like full on gold body paint. I've done sequins before. I've done glitter paint before. Okay, I've done it before. And I
been there.
Yeah, that was in the past. And I went into chemical shock, actually.
Yeah, that happened too. There's a really famous James Bond movie where they actually like spray painted this girl. I think it's what was that movie? Gold.
I was so cold. So cold.
Oh, I'm sure. She was her. It sealed your pores. Like
Yeah, it's your body's biggest organ. Is your
your skin.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're just like, we'll close it up. You know?
Yeah. So what are you thinking you're gonna do?
I mean, I didn't do it the way you're supposed to do it. You know, I did it like DIY on a budget. So I mean, like if we actually did gold, like I would do it correctly, and have like a makeup artist do it. And also, like it doesn't have to be paint. Like it could be makeup.
Right.
It could be body makeup, like different. But I want it to look like it's kind of dripping off of me, a little body horror style.
Okay.
And then throughout the video, I'm like losing my limbs essentially. And then you get to the end of it, and it's like
How are you gonna do that? What's the logistics of that look like? Is that like you wrapping your arm in like a green spandex thing so it can be gone? And
I don't know. I'm figuring that out. These are logistics.
I'm very interested in seeing how this develops.
Yeah, because like I want it to be a little like I want it to be sort of like dancey, not dance number-y. Not like a dance number, not like a Britney Spears moment, but like just, I don't know, like I'm envisioning like a lot of movement and like things corresponding and interacting with the environment. I'm envisioning the gold paint thing, and then maybe I can just, I don't know, maybe I'll talk to some special effects person and be like, can you make my finger fall off? You know?
Yeah. How about a limb?
Yeah, how about
Can I
my
lose this leg? Yeah.
But I don't know how it's gonna end. I keep thinking about the end, and I'm like, am I just gonna be a puddle? Like,
Yeah.
How do you conclude that?
Do you ever prompt yourself when you're writing something to like write something just as an exercise? Like I think it's all a creative exercise,
Yeah.
but sometimes I do things that are very creative exercise oriented where like we have this demo that the intro is really like, it's really thoughtful and just like the way the guitars kind of pluck. And I was like, okay, I want to write lyrics from the perspective of like Icarus flying too close to the sun. And like, because I feel like that's kind of what it's like sometimes as an artist. Like you go after the thing you're really passionate about and sometimes it can burn you. And, but I wanted to write it from a perspective of like, you know what? You would think that if you flew too close to the sun with wax wings and then they melted and you fell, you would be like, fuck, like, no, this is not what I wanted. But I was like, what if you were like, damn, I got that close to the sun? What if you had like gratitude on the way down? It was my perspective. And so I started writing from that mindset. And for the music video, I'm like, this is definitely gonna be a green screen. I'm gonna have to buy one of those like $900 fucking like fans and lay it underneath me. And I'm gonna have to like suspend myself and be able to key out the wire and stuff. And I wanna make it look like I'm falling through the clouds. And like, I want like the most beautiful cloudscape, like a sunset-y, atmospheric, tons of cloudscape beneath me, foreground and far in the distant background. So it's gonna be like a composition, but.
Are you actually doing this? Are you in the process of
This
doing
is like, I know what all the tenets of like what I'm gonna have to do to get it together and assemble that.
Yeah.
I just had the idea. So like the lyrics are done and now I'm like, we're trying to get like the actual scratch demo together so I can track the vocals to it. But the chorus opens up on a line that I feel like is probably one of the most powerful things that like I will have ever had uttered out of my mouth. And the idea of falling in the video and just having like my clothes actually like flapping underneath me while I'm like, you know, laying there and just kind of like however, I don't know how I'm going to fake falling for, you know, what's going to look like thousands of feet or whatever. But that idea really resonated with me, and I was like, what's my outfit look like? I have a hard time thinking of the visual of like, what am I?
I think we do the same thing.
Is this my outfit, or do I give myself like burnt wings, or like
what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
I know.
I was gonna guess like Leo. Or
I'm stereotypical stubborn as fuck Taurus. That's why I butt
What are
heads
the
with
other
people.
signs?
I think I'm like a rising Cancer moon or something like that.
Nope, none of these were on my list.
Yeah, I feel like most people that meet me that are very into like astrology are like, you're not the typical version of what I would expect. I'm like, so is it all bullshit, or is none of it bullshit? Am I in some weird? Is my 7th moon in fucking Jupiter or whatever? Like, what is it that made me the way I am? God damn it, I would like to know. But like in assembling the visual side of it, just hearing the intro to the song sparked the idea for what I was going to write the whole fucking thing about. And then I was like, and then for the visuals, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know what to do with the rest of my bandmates. Are they falling too, playing guitar, like just like upside down? We'll figure it out. But the visual for that seemed like a really good one. So I just enjoy hearing other people's creative process. Like
I love that idea.
I love that you're very visual first. And I find myself often in the visual secondary. Like I'm like, I just got to focus on getting this to where I want it to be. And then if I can listen to it, like audit it and listen to the whole thing, I can sort of examine and say, this is what this makes me feel like. Have you ever met anybody with synesthesia? It's like the blending of two senses. I had a guitar player, Chaz, and in my previous band, and we actually started like getting together to like just demo some ideas. We haven't written music in like over 10 years together. And we're like, you guys want to get together? Maybe walk around a little bit? And he has synesthesia where his, like Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy has it. I think John Mayer has it. They're I don't know if they're the same, but Chaz's was, he hears colors. So song keys, if you can imagine like the circle of fifths, they have like a color key to them. And so a G might be like, I actually have a saved notepad for what color each key of the song is in. And he just knows what the key of a song is when he hears the color. And I like saying that sounds so ridiculous.
Is insane.
But it helped, even though I don't have access to that, hearing him say that was like, oh,
like
well, if these keys have a color, like I bet they have a feeling too. And they kind of do. Like you can be like, a minor chord is going to make you feel something that's going to be me a little bit like A minor is going to make you feel maybe a little distraught or stressed, or like there's going to be some melancholy in there or something.
Right.
And so I started being like, oh, well, then that can kind of help inform the visuals a little bit. That way I have like a little bit of a compass whenever I'm creating, that I don't have to be like, I don't have to start from scratch and be like, okay, what idea do I hear? I can be like, actually, this is a song that feels like it's this. And so the lyrics actually kind of reflect that. And that was something that was happening to me unbeknownst to me having any knowledge of music theory or anything like that. I was just writing songs that were like, this song makes me feel like this, so I'm going to write these lyrics. And I don't play an instrument. So for me, a lot of my writing has always come from the instrumentals done, and I'm writing on top of it. And
You don't play any instruments?
I've started to learn piano, and I bought myself a really nice guitar for my birthday last year from Ernie Ball. Thanks to Tim Dove, he's the man. He really hooked me up. I had this extremely nice guitar that I've finally started like teaching myself guitar. And I'm surrounded by a bunch of brilliant musicians that I'm like, if we're out somewhere, I'm like, hey, can you walk me through what this chord is or whatever? Like, I'm playing in, I'm learning in drop C. So like not standard. So that's not helpful already because I can't find a lot of tutorials on what to learn. And, but I'm a big advocate of learn in a way that is fun to you first, and then go through and get the technical details after the fact.
Yeah, but that's also such an unpopular opinion. Like, I'm with you there, but you know, you'll hear most people say things like, learn the rules and then break them or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, all the rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah, because like I took lessons for some of my instruments, and then other ones I just...
Yeah, I heard you say you played banjo earlier.
Yeah.
What else do you play? You were fucking around on the piano, actually, whenever we were sitting here earlier.
Yeah, well, so I took lessons for mandolin and banjo.
Okay.
Those are the only two that
Wow, mandolin, that's going to be fucking
a
whole beast.
Yeah, well, it's just like hard on your fingers. That's really all it is.
Is that what it is?
It's like, like the strings are so tight, and there's two of them for everything. So it's like, even though they're really close to the neck, it's like, that shit will make your fingers bleed. Like, that's like
you're gonna have to build up the calluses.
Yeah, whereas banjos, like the strings are like everything's more relaxed. You don't have to.
You ever play ukulele or anything like that?
Yeah, I play ukulele.
You see, that's another weird one because those chords, it's 4 strings and the chords are like
It's like one string you're holding down to equal something though. Like
see, that's like a good barrier to entry for somebody that's thinking about picking up guitar. Be like, hey, maybe you just figure out your way.
Yes. Yeah, I met this girl when I was at NAMM like 2 years ago, and I was just like kind of networking. I was like, let's see, what we can do here. And I went downstairs and there was like they're like a manufacturing company. And I don't even know that they have like a whole lot online, but they were selling these ukuleles and they were beautiful. And they were making me like a custom one for the last year.
Nice.
And it's got abalone on it.
Nice. That's on my guitar as well.
It's a baritone ukulele with octave
it's gonna be dark.
strings.
That's gonna be beautiful.
So it's got like the octaves of a mandolin.
Do you have it yet?
Not yet. But I'm supposed to get it this month.
Yeah, all right.
But it's got the octave strings like a mandolin, which is what made me think about it. And
that's awesome.
It's gonna be a baritone, so it's gonna be fucking crazy. But yeah, so I took lessons for mandolin and banjo because my dad played the banjo, so we used to play together. And then guitar and
hell yeah, dueling banjos. That's what's up.
Yeah, yes, actually.
You did live out in the woods.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and then like right now I play guitar and piano and ukulele too. But there was a time when I played like cello and violin and all this shit, and it was just cello's like so hard to learn, and like no one has a cello for you to just maintain the knowledge on.
That's fucking wild because in this, was it this one? Or maybe it was Forever Young that we were doing yesterday. There was like a cello part in it. And I was like, oh, I don't know anybody that plays cello, man.
Yeah,
and
back
I did.
in the day, yeah. Well, and violin is the same. It's a mandolin without frets.
Yeah, it's fretless.
So it's like, but it's like the same key. Everything's the same. So if you can play the mandolin, you can probably play the violin.
Yeah, I mean, if muscle memory is going to keep you in key where you're like, you know how to do it. I see a million instruments being played, and I'm like, I am going to learn how to play this.
Yeah.
I like seeing somebody apply vibrato to a violin is like, I think like a spiritual experience. Like that's so cool.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I hadn't like stopped playing the cello because I didn't give it that much time. But I was moving across the country. Something had to go, and that thing was huge. So
yeah.
I was packing my Prius, and it was gonna take up the whole damn seat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got rid of it. But
I can have this, or I can live comfortably.
Yeah. But I love that instrument so much.
So you have some new songs on the way. Like, do you want to? I know we've done the podcast has been like we're like an hour and 15. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you've had a full day today. But do you want to like kind of tell me like what you have coming up, what you're looking forward to, what's going on in your world coming up next that you're like excited about, and like how can we get you like in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my song "Youth" came out in like last year, like late last year. So that's like been the latest release. I don't know if you've heard that one, but
I don't think I have.
It's very anthem-y. It's an anthem song.
Okay.
It could be your summer bop, okay? So Youth came out. We love that song. And yeah, right now I'm just wrapping up this record, so that's on the horizon.
Full album?
Yeah, it's a full album. Well, that's what it is right now. It could change, but we have enough material for the album, and that's kind of what I'm envisioning for and what I'm preparing all the visuals for and stuff. So that's on the horizon. And yeah, but like until then, man, I'm just like cooking up like so many like visuals and stuff for,
I don't ever find you to be lacking in that department. I feel like you've got a really visually creative brain too, which is like really, you're a true creative through and through. I'm like really happy that in my travels of all the people that I've met somebody like you also.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like we're kindreds in a lot of ways.
It's good to have people like that in your life. One of my absolute best friends, Jason, he's a multi-instrumentalist, super talented dude. I'd love to find a way to like integrate the two of you. I think you guys would have a lot of fun playing music together. Mm-hmm. And but he's just one of those people that has kind of helped me open my eyes a little bit to like, it's just such a wide world, and you feel like until you really kind of experience seeing it in the way other people can see it, you kind of you always have this like limited scope. And so when I meet people like him and people like you, I don't intentionally group you into like a category together, but unintentionally I do. And that category is like one of my favorite categories because I'm very inspired by the just the strides that everybody in that box takes. And it's, you know, like, I think like there's something to be said for being an artist, especially right now, is really hard because you just have to find a way to like, you know, commodify and like monetize all the things you're doing if you want to like make a living at doing it. And that's not maybe necessarily what everybody wants to do with their art. And I have respect for where everybody holds their art in their life and how they, you know, aspire to have it be used and grow with it. But it can be really hard to rely on yourself only and like really stick to your, you know, your guns when it comes to making sure you create in the first place, making sure you're honest with your creativity and not just sort of like feeding into a narrative that you've observed and that you think you have to placate toward. Did you see Timothy Chalamet got a bunch of flack for saying something in an interview he was doing with like a bunch of, I think it was like NYU or some sort of university or whatever. He was with Matthew McConaughey and he was kind of talking about how like he probably doesn't enjoy, I think he was saying that he doesn't really enjoy the fact that when he does a press tour, a lot of what he's doing is really just trying to get people to go out to the cinema and see a movie. And like to keep like the film industry alive. And so people got
upset about that?
Not about that. It's the secondary comment to it was, you know, he's like, you know, I don't want to have to go out there and like advocate for the arts like ballet and what was the other one? It was ballet and something else. Opera. And he was like, you know, that like these things that like nobody cares about. And he didn't mean it in like a nobody cares about it kind of way. He meant it like in a nobody cares about the arts kind of way. Like if we had more patronage for the arts, like you go to Europe and you play a show.
He wasn't saying that he doesn't care about those things.
He was saying that as a society we don't, but in this like in the way he said it, it came across as you know, people don't care about it. And so the internet in no short supply of being interested in like being rage baited and jumping. Rage culture is like all the culture. Oh, you hear my stomach?
Are you
I'm so hungry? He was like getting a bunch of shit from everybody. There was a ballet dancer that was like standing on one of those balance balls that has like a flat platform on it. And he's standing on one leg and he's doing this like some stance. It's like a ballet stance. And it's beautiful, and like his quads are like stacked. Like it clearly takes a lot of dedication and control to be able to do something like that. And I think that dancer's commentary was like, Timothy Chalamet could never, that kind of a thing.
Of course.
And so, and like when you take what he's saying out of context and you take it the wrong way, you're gonna look at it like that. And then Doja Cat, like a couple days ago, kind of. She's like, she reminds me of you in the regard that like,
she's so funny.
I love her, dude.
I love
She's
her.
stream of consciousness. She was like, you know, she was kind of like talking shit on him.
Have you seen her TikTok?
Oh yeah, for sure. She was one of the first people I followed.
So good.
She's flawless on social media. She gets it. And so she was like talking shit on him. Not talking shit. She was just like, kind of like castrating him for like saying shit like that. And she like fucked his name up. I think she said something like, she said it in a really way that was just like obviously butchering his name and to be funny. And she apologized for it like 2 days later. And one of the reasons she gave for it, she was like, yeah, like we live in a culture where like if you want to drive views and clicks, like you have to kind of jump in and have an opinion and say these things. And what I liked about this is another reason why I still love her, is that she was like, that is the world we live in. Like I have to do that if I want to generate streams and revenue and support my livelihood, because that's the culture we've chosen to create for ourselves. And as a commentary, social commentary on like how we go about doing stuff like that and just jumping on the bandwagon and doing it because that's going to drive clicks and whatever, it's a very disingenuous way to have discourse and really grow as a society. And so I thought it was really cool that she did that like a few days prior. And I almost believe she might have done it staged on purpose, because she was literally just in like a bath towel, like talking shit to him, because she's crazy in the best ways. And seeing her like secondary commentary being like, she apologized to him, and then she just basically called out like, that's the culture that the world has created that I have to live in and create in. And so it's almost like it's like my due diligence is speaking up and saying something about that. And so if I don't do that, it's going to be about Iran or whatever else is going on in the world, just to drive the clicks and drive the views. And I thought that was like really powerful, because I think it's already really hard to be an artist in the first place. And I don't think about it as like musicians somehow. We are kind of like the runts of the group, in that we're probably the most important art, I think, in the world. because I think it subverts all language. It's like a very multicultural, global thing where like you don't have to understand the words to connect with it. Film is, I think, the same way. But for some reason in the music industry, it seems like we don't really embrace like fighting back to get our autonomy. Like we allow like Spotify to pay 0.0003 cents per stream. And like we just allow these things to take place because infrastructure is put there. And if you want to play the game, that's kind of what you have to do. And it takes many to change something like that. So I think it's hard to be an artist. And the fact that I have known you as long as I have, and I am here with Alex doing this, and know all the people that I do that are still actively pursuing music this late in their careers and for so long, and just like tirelessly and without apology, is just really profound to me. I'm really excited to see what you do with this record, and I'm excited that you're like shopping it around and that you're talking to labels. I like, obviously, if there's any way that you need, like, I think you're self-sufficient. I don't think you would need my help for anything, but if you ever want my help for anything, I'm happy to jump.
Hopping thing.
yeah, which we will talk about immediately while I'm tearing shit down here. I can't wait to see what you're doing, and I'm excited to see where you go with the next, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Can you want to tell people like where they can find you on socials so that I can?
Yes. Well, the username is a little bit different on every platform.
Super helpful.
Yeah. But on YouTube, it's just Eliza Grace. On Instagram, it's I am Eliza Grace. On TikTok, it's Eliza. Fuck, I don't even know. Wait,
you see this face, you're gonna find it.
Okay, it's either Eliza Grace Music or I am Eliza Grace on pretty much every platform.
Perfect.
Okay, so just try one of those. Yeah.
Hopefully this episode doesn't come out in too long, but when it does, you'll be able to hear the Alex Goot and Eliza Grace cover of Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga's Die With a Smile, and you can always check out our cover of That's What I Want by Lil Nas X that we did, I think, like 2 years ago now, maybe longer, maybe it's almost 3 years.
Yeah, I think it was a while ago.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun doing that, and I've had a lot of fun watching your journey, and I'm excited to. We've got another one that's in the works that I'll just save for whenever it's done and ready to come out. Maybe when we film that video, we'll do another podcast.
Sounds great.
But thanks for taking the time to, at the end of a long day of filming and fucking around,
Filming even
to
more.
just let me,
It's fun.
We'll toss in an extra 2 hours, no big deal.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. Thanks for reviving it.
Yeah. You single-handedly saved it. You are my savior right now.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks for coming. Yeah. That's it. We're done. 2 of the cameras are dead. There's only the wide in the middle. It's all right. It is what it is. That's showbiz, baby. That's rock and roll.
Showbiz, baby.
We're always collaborating at all times with the universe.
That is a wrap on another episode of the Collab or Die podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making this episode for you. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show, the part where I beg you to please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Don't be that guy. Follow us on all your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And don't be shy. Give us a shout out on social media at Collab or Die Podcast on all the cool platforms to share your thoughts, your feedback, and your love. Until next time, Collab or Die, baby.